Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 15th Regional Board meeting for the Career Development Center. We'll start it off by see if there's any public comments. Seeing there is nothing in public comments, we will move on to the consent agenda. The minutes of the RGB full meeting of Monday, September 10th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Leon moved and Fran second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Payroll warrants, number 9, number 1012, number 10, and number 1014.
So moved.
Second.
Franny moved
Leon second.
and Leon second. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous. Vendor warrants, number 1013 and number 1015.
So moved.
Second.
Randy moved, Ken second. Discussions.
I have a couple of questions about I came down and signed some of those warrants, and I wondered if we need to look at buying a dishwasher instead of renting it, because it was a rental fee for a lease agreement. When we started that program, we didn't know how successful it would be, so we leased equipment or bought used equipment, and now that it's very successful, maybe it'd be cheaper in the long term to buy.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but so the equipment that we had from when the program was started failed or was not meeting code.
Right.
So we have leased in this current dishwasher, and the lease agreement includes all the product that is required to operate it. We did look at purchasing and comparing against the leasing. The current lease the current lease is more financially advantageous for us than making the purchase outright. I think that we could look at switching and buying it, but then then we're paying for the product and who does the repairs and things like that. So
The leasing was a better
I
option.
think I think leasing is a better option for us in order to meet the requirements, to stay current and keep the payments low.
Right.
We're going in the right direction.
Because one of the things that we see is the program was started, rightfully so, as Ed pointed out, not knowing how successful it would be, and with a lot of used equipment that we started off with, and a lot of that's been replaced, and some of it's been leased, and some of it still needs to be replaced and is failed. So it's sometimes leasing is just a better option for some stuff.
we did look at it though. We did compare.
Oh yeah, absolutely, we compared. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just questioning, due diligence. Same thing with the copier lease. There was a, and I
We have
wondered-
2 current copier leases. One will be up in December and one will be up next August. And with the copier lease, the toner and supplies are included, and we did lay out, we will be putting out an RFP for a copier for the office probably in November, and
Yeah.
we'll look at it again, but the leasing right now was the
It's
cheaper.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Right, with all the repairs that end up happening and everything's covered, it's
well,
yeah.
it's an expensive lease, so I thought I'd ask.
You get a lot of-
Especially when you go over the page count.
get a lot of
that you're
use.
allowed.
Right.
In this paperless world we live in, a lot of use.
A lot of copy
Yeah.
use.
Amazing. Glad we went paperless. Anything else?
No, I'll zip it now.
Anybody else have any discussions on these warrants?
Not the worst, but I sent an email to the secretary. How come she says that she sends this out to the Bennington Banner, but it's never in the banner, the announcement of these meetings, and that's maybe why we have no one ever coming to the meetings. They don't know what it is.
I did send an email to the banner asking what the story was and are we appropriately sending it. And I haven't heard back from them. But we've been following the same process for a number of years. I didn't realize it wasn't showing up. So I'm working on that, Ken. Thank you for bringing
Yeah,
attention.
'cause it hasn't been in for a year, I'll bet you, every time I look.
Does it get posted over in Town Hall? I mean, nobody goes over there and looks anyway.
Right, it goes to the Bennington Town Hall, the Manchester Center Town Hall. We post it on our website, and we post it officially throughout our building. It's well posted to
And in your
meet the
class,
demand.
so, yeah.
Good. Anything else? Any other discussion? Seeing none, raise your right hand. Favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, Ed, for coming in and signing the warrants. Some days I
No.
was too far out to...
I get it.
I appreciate it, thank you. Okay, there are in the Dropbox a cash flow and revenue expenses. Committee reports. To my knowledge, we've had only one, and that was just prior to this meeting, and it was the Educational Committee, as in Educational Finance. And Ed is the chairman. Would you like to speak?
For a moment, yes. In the meeting we just had, we didn't get to approve the minutes that have been posted for that, and I scanned them and didn't see any issues. The joint meeting of the Finance Committee and the Education Committee agreed by consensus to follow the administrator's decision to hire a workforce, trying to find the title we just talked about.
Workforce Education and Training Coordinator.
Yeah, Workforce Education and Training Coordinator, and the money is available to fund that position, and after a year, we'll start receiving money from the state. The position is necessary because 3 years ago, we decided to allow our administrators and business manager to try to cover all the responsibilities and duties relating to that. And they gave it a good try for 3 years, and I had decided that it isn't working as well as it should be. So we're going to fill the position with the full-time, school year, full-time person.
But the position has changed slightly.
Well, yeah, the job description has changed from being just an adult education position to a workforce and training coordinator that'll do more work with both students here and with industry and business in the county. I don't know if we've talked about the education outreach coordinator. That has been approved by the committee at a previous meeting.
Yes, that position has been, the nomination form is in the
Yeah.
Dropbox tonight. That position was approved, and we've nominated somebody for that, so that's coming up.
Is this a time to make the motion to approve the,
Well, I didn't know if Mike wanted to elaborate any more on that
Oh, okay.
position. I mean, we were in that committee meeting, but Ken
Yep.
wasn't, and...
No, that's fine.
Wasn't?
I think Ken was there last month.
I think he was
Don't
too.
take one
but-
thing,
yeah.
yeah.
I just,
Happy run over
I
it.
know the reasons why, yeah.
well, I think Ed did a good job, and I'm just wondering if there's anything else you'd like to add to it.
Sure. I'll always add to something if you ask me.
Well,
I can just be quiet, is the problem. So as Ed stated, over the past 3 years, we have really taken a hard look at adult education, and I think that adult and continuing education, and listening to what the legislature has to say, the Agency of Education and Commerce, and that workforce training and education is going to be forefront in our state, and I want us as an institution to get out ahead of it. Again, to best meet the needs of not only high school age students, but also adult students in our workforce. And what we've seen over the last 3 years, we have been able to stabilize adult continuing education and begin to grow it. And it's beginning to grow in a way that is not as well managed as we'd like it to be. And that's not a failure on anyone's part, it's starting to grow. And at the last meeting, Fran reminded me, he said that, if I can quote you, Fran, I think, that you said you might come back to us and say you needed this, and here you are 3 years later, and here we are 3 years later. We've been able to establish, as you know, We are a licensed CDL,
Class B.
Class B driving school, I get the terminology right. You know, we have a very successful LNA program. We have a lot of new courses and things that are starting with business and industry. We have, Meg's going to talk about it during my report tonight, with CNC and customized classes for Mac molding. And we're seeing it, and we're having more requests to come in for these classes, and it needs someone's attention to detail to make this happen and make it flourish. And there's no reason that we can't, as a center, be providing additional post-secondary education for graduating students and for the workforce. We have the facilities, we have the equipment, we generally have the knowledgeable staff. Well, they're all very knowledgeable if they want to work longer, but we may have to hire other staff. We have it, why aren't we doing it? You know, the time has come to be the workforce education driver for the community and for the county, and I think that we're poised well to do that, and someone needs to pay attention to it very closely, and that's why I'm bringing the position to the board for approval. Is that enough, Frankie?
No, I think that's plenty. I think that's plenty. Yes, Ken?
I think, I was looking over nominations, I think it's great that you had the principal from Arlington and the individual from Southern Vermont, just not ourselves, but people could probably be helping out in the selection process. That was nice to open up.
Thank you. Fran, do we have a nomination, please?
I'm going to make the motion.
That's
to-
what I meant.
Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
Got a little more
Took him a
coffee.
little
Gotta wake up here.
Okay. I move that the full board approve the position for the Workforce and Education Training Coordinator.
Second.
And Leon seconded.
Fran made the motion, Leon second.
Yep.
Discussion.
Definitely-
Seeing none,
definitely something we
motion
need.
Carries. Raise your right hand.
Go.
Unanimous.
Nomination next.
Okay. Action items, nominations.
In your Dropbox, there is a nomination for the Educational and Community Outreach Coordinator. As a brief reminder, this was a position written into our federal Perkins grant and approved by the Agency of Education. So this is a grant-funded position that will need to be renewed yearly at the time of our Perkins application, which generally occurs in early to late spring. So we have a nomination for you tonight, Nicole Sauer for the Educational Outreach Coordinator. You can see her background in education and her work in communications and marketing, as well as photography, and a business owner. Has worked in the district before, not necessarily the CDC, but the SVSU. We had 10 applicants. We interviewed 3. And as Ken pointed out, we put together quite a team of folks to interview. There's a total, I believe, of 8, and that included the new principal of Arlington Memorial High School, as well as Betsy Dunham, outreach and school, not really school to work, I'm going to their title. Sorry, Betsy, on that. And from SVC to serve on the committee as well, because this person will need to work with these different agencies and folks. And I couldn't bring everyone from the county here. We tried to pick, to have a well-rounded group of people. And so Nicole was actually here today, poking around, and looking forward to getting started. She's got some really great ideas and really brought forth through the second interview some really interesting ideas and techniques and technology and interesting use of media, let me say that. I think we're
I'd
looking
like to
forward to
move it. So move it.
interesting.
Second.
Leon moved it, Fran seconded. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
She'll start tomorrow now, right?
Officially, yes.
Officially. Okay. All right, I think Workforce Education and Training Coordinator's position. That's the one we just discussed.
Yeah.
So that should be it. It's up to you now.
All right. I'm going to start my report off with Meg tonight.
Okay.
Okay, so Mike went over this a bit, but in the adult ed world, what we have going on is CDLB. We have a CNC operator level 1 course going on. LNA, of course. We also have SolidWorks, which is being taught up at Abacus. Excel for Mac, which was designed for Mac molding. We have the vet assistant, of course, going on as well. In the daytime, we've been working with the state field rep for apprenticeships to help to develop pre-apprenticeships. The advantage of doing that is the hours that they earn during a pre-apprenticeship, they can apply to an apprenticeship. So we're hoping that in working with her, we can, kind of develop some various options for our students. And this would also encourage students to go out into the field and basically apply what they've learned in the classroom. Wendy Klein's working with UCS. The apprenticeship, the pre-apprenticeship that she's working on is the maintenance repair technician apprenticeship. And we have some students doing job shadows to explore HVAC, plumbing, or electrical. There are students that are in the building trades program. They're not quite sure what area they want yet, so we're starting them off with the job shadows. Going back to LNA, we found out from the state that according to our prerequisites for our LNA students, they had to be 18 years old. The state is saying that they have to be 16 years old. So, the exciting part of that is marketing to high school students. So we're hoping that having that knowledge now and marketing it that way will increase the number of students that we have from the high school. So that's a good thing. That's it.
Did they recently just change that age limit?
I'm not sure. I talked with Allison Rogie, the program administrator, and she did call the state on it because we've been working with Kathy Slade's class, the medical professions class. So last spring we had 4 medical professions 2 students in our LNA class. And they were students that were graduating, they were all 18. Kathy has said she's got as much as 7 that are interested for this coming spring. So Allison initially called the state to find out the age, because the other thing the age does is if a senior wants to take it but they don't turn 18 until May, then they can't take it, according to what we knew. So that also opens the entire school year for students that are seniors or a little bit younger. So I'm not sure, Fran.
Okay, no, well, that's good that they said it's 16, that's perfect.
Right.
So I was just wondering how that was marketing that.
Right,
that
yeah.
How long does
information
it take
in
to
terms-
get their certification?
It's a 9 to 10 week course.
So after they take the course, they're certified?
They have to sit for a licensing exam now.
Yeah.
A licensing, pen and paper plus skills.
And is that given here, the licensing?
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep, we're a state
So
facility
those
for
that
that.
really want healthcare starting out early and they know that's
Yep.
what they want to do.
Right.
You can grab them at age 16, would
Yep.
that be?
Perfect.
Well, even if they want to become a nurse, taking that kind
That
of
Yes.
course and
class.
having a background.
Yeah,
Yeah, we do all the testing and everything,
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah, that's good.
and it's a better paying job too,
And needed.
and needed,
We
yeah,
did,
so,
Thanks, Meg.
Going back to the apprenticeship
yeah.
programs that you talked about, the hours that they spend in a class here can be applied to the training required during an apprenticeship? Or,
I'm not sure.
We're working.
because that would be a change in
Yeah.
what the state required.
Right, and
And the
I'm,
state should do that.
I'm not sure, Ed.
I know in
think-
talking with Wendy, I think there's been discussions about
Yeah.
class time or certain portions of class
Yeah.
counting for that pre-apprentice, but that's not been determined. But there are discussions around it. I do know that. Wendy and I spoke today.
Yeah.
I just don't know the details behind it. It's still kind of very new to all of us about
Yeah,
what's available to us and what isn't.
Right.
I guess.
We tried to change that regulation years ago, and nobody in Montpelier wanted to talk to us.
Okay.
All right. For my piece of the report tonight, I just want to bring up to date on things that have been happening. It's hard to believe school's already in session for over a month. That's crazy. I don't know where time's going, but fall is here and winter's shortly behind it. So this past week we had Sophomore Career Summit, where that is all sophomores from the region. This year it was held at SVC.
Yes.
Usually it's Bennington College, but this year it was at Southern Vermont College. So we've done this for many years. It's not our event. We help kind of co-host the event with other organizations. And students in their sophomore year get to explore all sorts of careers via panelists and some hands-on workshops. So that was very successful. Also, this past week was Women Can Do. Talk to you about that every year. VTC hosts, usually on the 3rd or on October 11th, 12th, they host an annual conference at VTC that is full to the hilt. This year we took a full busload and a van of students, female students, to try non-traditional careers at Vermont Tech for the day. And it always gets very good reviews. And most of those students that went are not our students. They're Arlington students, they're high school students from Mount Anthony that are not in our program. So that was a great day. We've been doing a lot of field trips and daytime tours of business and industry for our first year students, particularly getting them exposed to what's out here. What are the careers that are available to you, not just in Bennington, but in our region. And for every program that we have, easily there are 20 to 30 careers out of each program we have. They're just not, if you're in automotive, you're not just an automotive technician. There are a lot of careers in the automotive field. There are a lot of careers in the manufacturing field. There are a lot of careers in the business field. They're not sole track programs. So we're trying to get students to see what's out there in their first couple months of school to grab them. Today is October 15th. It's our historic count for our FTEs. I'll have the full report for you next month on that. Today was a snapshot. I will tell you, I'm not going to put a number out there yet, but they are up slightly, which is good. They're not down. So anything, even flat is good given the student population decline. So we'll take an increase. Also, I'd like to thank the public who's listening tonight or who'll be watching on Cat TV at a later time or Facebook. Thank you for learning and helping our new sign-in system. It's not perfect. Sandy can attest to that. There's a lot of pulling and pushing, but we're getting used to it. I think students are quite adept to it. Quite frankly, the students are in and out. It's the visitor passes that we seem to have a little bit of an issue with, so thank you. We're working out the kinks. It's a new system. And some really neat things we've been able to do with it. Actually, we bought it as a security measure to sign in out of the building. But learning the software, we've been able to issue our work-based learning students their IDs with barcodes on it, and it's called a Jiffy Pass. And all they have to do is when they sign out for work-based learning, they come up and all I do is scan this. They don't even type anything in, and it knows their name and their placement and signs them in and out. And they come back and check in. Takes, half a second. Programs now are also using that. No more paper sign out for programs. They're signing out via their swipe card. So that's kind of cool. It's called a Jiffy Pass, and it's worked out pretty neat, actually. Kids are like, am I getting my pass to sign out today? And they come up and scan it. So we're getting used to it. As far as faculty and staff goes, I don't think there are many people walking into the office door anymore, although it was kind of comical. It still happens. The door's locked, but we've got some other options now. We have our key fobs, and also we've been able to link some of our IDs as well to certain doors, so it's been really handy. So it's become more and more user-friendly, and people will get used to it. So it's working out, and that's what I have. So I have questions for you.
Anybody have any questions or comments of the superintendent? Seeing none, we'll move on to other. Anybody have any other information or any other comments?
Next month's meeting.
Yes.
Thank you,
I
Ken.
see, does Veterans Day, it's on a Monday, is it celebrated, is that a holiday for schools?
It
The
is.
12th, yes,
The
of
12th is.
November.
So the meeting next month, you'll have to, well, not have to choose, but it is fall on a holiday, so the board could choose to, I'm sorry, I just got my calendar up here, either on the 5th or the 19th. That would be the first Monday or the third Monday. Those are,
Well, 5th would be kind of soon, it's only like in 2 weeks.
Yeah, let's make it the 19th. and
Stephanie, from a business office standpoint, does that work for warrants and things?
That's fine, either is fine. I think that I will probably put together a proposed schedule for our finance committee meetings. That should be starting in mid-November, and so we can get the budget rolling and done, so that we can pass it for the December meeting.
That's the Thanksgiving week you're talking about.
Yes, the week of the 19th.
It is.
Yeah.
One early Thanksgiving.
Well, what's the time of the meeting, 6?
6.
No
When-
pre-meeting?
I got one, once you're done. Oh, you waiting for me?
Now's the time, otherwise we're out of here.
The Vermont School Board annual meeting will be held on the 18th and 19th at Lake Maury. Ed brought up the subject at the meeting that we had here, is that each district has a voting right.
Yes,
So I'll turn it over to him and let him discuss it.
I was not aware of this
Okay.
until that meeting, but apparently, because we are a supervisory union of our own, we have a voting right at the annual School Board Association meetings. And from what I learned was we have to appoint somebody to attend the meeting and vote on what
I'm going,
this board wants. So I nominate
You're
Jackie
elected.
to be that.
unless you want to do it.
No, you can do it. I'll be there.
Yeah.
But
Well,
if
we're
you wanna
usually
do it,
there.
Yeah.
You want to do it?
No, hey, I'd like to spread things around.
But as a board, we haven't discussed any of the resolutions that are being proposed for the meeting. And I guess we'll have to defer to
Well,
the judgment of Leon and Jackie.
The biggest resolution that they're going to discuss, let me know if I'm wrong, is the one about healthcare, the same healthcare payment for everyone, every teacher in the state.
That's
In other-
one.
Pardon?
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah, so in other words, instead of negotiating it every year
Yeah.
for different districts, they'll have just one negotiation. Are we all for that?
Yep.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. The only thing I'm not for is not having it open.
No,
And
That's,
I had asked that, and Dan French said, no, they'll have to negotiate that. Oh, no, you don't need to negotiate it at all. You tell them, here's when we're gonna be ready to negotiate, let us know when you're ready.
I
And
will
make sure it's
discuss that.
open.
I will discuss
And
that.
open
Because I
meeting.
knew that's one of the tools that they're gonna use to get it out of the people, so people can't see what the hell is going on. And that's where you get this thing, well, the boards or the state's not negotiating in good faith. It's a mistake to do that, so, and I'm assuming that's gonna be in April? That's when they're
No,
supposed to.
they're going to vote on it this week.
I,
The school board. the
yeah,
school board.
he had said that there's already, as a law, that this is gonna happen anyway, so what are they voting on?
Well, we can discuss things like, and I will bring that up. I'm
Yeah,
not shy.
I'm irritated by that, because that's just another sly way this state will play a game with the people that are in this thing. And it's not right. It
It's
needs
not-
to be open.
It has to be open. But
Yep.
don't we have something with the open meeting laws that has to be open?
No.
Didn't we discuss
No.
that the
Yeah,
last time?
Stitzel had, and I can't think of the attorney, and they came back because the one before our last negotiations, It was Mike Malloy, and they said, no, we're gonna discuss that. No, you're not, because this is what it is, and they went back to the state, and it should be open. So I'm just hoping we don't lose that part of it, because I think it's a travesty if that
Well,
happens.
it's a precedent that we set.
Right.
And
We were the first ones to set that, by the way.
Right, but the people who didn't want it out there in TV land was the union. The union didn't want that discussed
Too
openly.
bad.
And it needs to be discussed openly.
Absolutely. They're still gonna have the right to caucus in executive
Of
session.
course.
That's my point. So they're not losing anything.
Right.
Hey, I'm done. Thank you.
So-
Motion to adjourn.
Wait, he's not
I asked
finished.
Ed to make sure that everybody knew that we had those rights, but I wanted to say that at our meeting that was held here, we had at least 3 board members from the Career Development Center there, which was Art, myself, and Ed. that
Francis
actually
was there.
I was there too. I'm a board member.
I mean, Fran. What did I, oh, I thought I mentioned you first, Fran.
You said our,
I'm always put on the
Yeah,
back
Art,
burner.
okay, I'm sorry, Fran, I missed you there.
I'm sorry, I was just reviewing the warrant schedule and then also the budget. Would it be possible to have the meeting on the 5th rather than the 19th, than having it so late in November?
doesn't break my heart at
Because
all.
we're gonna have, I mean, it's 3 weeks from now, it's a little early.
I don't care, we're gonna
but
have
it's-
it.
That's
Yeah.
We're gonna be
fine.
getting into a lot of meetings with
Would that be
budget,
okay?
so.
That way we
Agreed.
could perhaps
Yeah.
have our first budget meeting beforehand and start to get
Beforehand
the
and-
ball.
Works.
So do the 5th then at 6?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I
Are we
appreciate
having
it.
any meeting before that? Any finance or anything, or are we all set?
We'll see, probably, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe a
Yeah, there-
preliminary finance,
Like just usually to walk,
Yeah.
like, I think last year we did a quick walkthrough of how we were gonna go.
of
about
where we're
it.
gonna, right, how we're gonna approach
Okay.
things.
It'll probably be too early for numbers, but.
Do you know?
So what meeting are we talking about on the 5th?
A potential finance, but definitely a board meeting.
Now,
Board meeting.
Okay.
but I have a policy meeting that's scheduled for,
Oh, okay.
you on that, from 4:30 to 6, and I think the last time I cut it off about 15 minutes to
Yep.
get here for 6 o'clock, so if you're gonna have pre-meetings, I can't make any of those.
I'm not sure that we'll be here or
Okay, so
not
we
yet, but.
can, but it'd be helpful if it was on the 5th.
Well, with all these changes with the negotiations for health insurance, did I see somewhere where the state's finally gonna get rid of strikes for teachers and imposition of contracts for, school boards? They should do that. Someone up there should
They
have the brain.
voted against it by one vote
Who
2
did?
years ago, the state legislature.
That is such a ridiculous, I know they got
Probably
their
Alice
pockets filled up.
One vote.
Their pockets filled from the NEA, but, those two things should just go away and just keep negotiating.
Yep.
Now they've only got salaries to negotiate, really, nothing else.
And maybe that will go away too.
That'd be nice.
Everybody gets the same salary. If you're teaching in Burlington and teaching in Bennington, what's the difference?
Well, I'll tell you what's different with that. Now, let's say for the sake of argument, teachers in Burlington they're all making 100,000, for the sake of argument, okay? I'm just using, and the teachers down here doing the same work are making $75,000. If you negotiate a 3% raise, well, their 3% up there is gonna be a little different than the 3% down here. And I'm not for sitting here, well, they're getting 100,000, so they all get 100,000 down here. No, that's not the way it works. So I'm just saying, that's something you need to look forward, look at.
They have to chunk out the numbers.
Yeah, but to make everybody all the same money in the whole state, that, I can't say how you would ever do that, but just my opinion.
That was briefly discussed at the School Board Association meeting
Yeah.
last week, and it was suggested that it'll become a regional salary as opposed to a statewide salary.
Hopefully while they're doing that, they'll look at the technical center salary schedule
Yeah.
as compared to how our
Yes.
current, because it's,
Doesn't work for our.
It doesn't.
Right now, we have a semi-regional.
Move with adjourn.
Second, but you know what it actually does,
Dan made a
though?
motion, Fran second, all in
Yeah,
favor?
aye. What it actually does
Thank
is
you.
it gives